Well, hello there. How are you? We are going to have so much fun today. Honestly, I am making soup today, and you're going to come along with me, and don't eye roll me. This is a cold summer soup that is so good. It's one of my favorite recipes, and I was living together with my daughter one summer up in Portland, Lake Oswego. And she and I had it almost every day. It is so delicious, so delicious. So we're going to go shopping for the ingredients, and then we're going to make it. It's really so good. If you try it, I predict that you'll be wanting to make it all summer long. But first, I have a couple of things I want to talk to you about. The first is a tip. The second is a story. So if you're a hugger, if you're in the hug club, and if you are, thank you so much for joining me. It has been so much fun putting this together. And now we get to start in. There's going to be letters flying all around the world from pretty over 50 people. And I want to give you a tip about one of the things that is in the monthly collection. If you haven't downloaded and printed the to-do list, which I call the TADA list, you might want to think about it, because I want to give you what I do with it. Now, I have been a to-do list person, gosh, pretty much since I was like 17 or 18. And I always did it with little index cards. You know, I would put my calls on one side and my to-do on the other, and my list of things I needed to pick up at the bottom. You know, I just had a little system. Talk to my girls. They'll tell you I always had an index card with me, and that's how I kept things going. It is so great, because when I put it down, when I write it down, like hand write it down, it gets it out of my head. And then I can think about other things, because I know I've got that on my list and I won't forget about it. Anyway, I've been using the TADA list, and the ones I created are TADA lists because it's better than to do, because it's like, ta-da, look at all I did. I have been using the heck out of the TADA lists, and I don't know why I didn't make these sooner, because they're so much better than the index card. And if you're not a list girl, you might want to try it. If you are a list girl, try it. You'll love it. What I do is I print mine out on cardstock so that it has a little weight to it. And what I've been doing, you guys, they're long. And so there's 3 that comes on a page. I'll put up a picture right here for the non-huggers. You might want to join that club. It's so fun. Anyway, they come 3 on a page. And what I do is I just print out several pages, and then I cut them up and they're ready to go. So they're long, which is wonderful, because what I do is I fold it in half. And then on the top side, I put all the little errands I need to do, and maybe who I need to email and call. On this side, you can see it's a fairly light day. It's actually a painting day. I'm excited about that. So that's how I do the top part. And then on the bottom part is where I make my lists. Like today, I'm going to the grocery store, so I made a list to make sure that I get everything. And if I was like going to go to the pet store, I would list what I had there. And then here's another cool thing. On the back, you can make notes. For instance, yesterday, this was my TADA list, and you can see it's TADA right there. I love that part. Anyway, I was watching a YouTube video, and all of a sudden I realized I want to make notes. I just grabbed my TADA list and made notes all down the TADA list. So these are so handy if you like to write things down. So give it a try, and you might try it on cardstock, because that really works. So anyway, that's the Hug Club stuff. Now I want to tell you a story that kind of combination blew my mind and freaked me out a little bit, in a good way, And you know, I've been talking about how the energy on Earth is kind of shifting. We're in a sector of space now where the energy is different and the frequencies are different. So things are happening. So I want to tell you this story, and I'm getting goosebumps just starting to talk about it. It involves my neighbors. I have the world's best neighbors, the best neighbors. But here's the thing, they would call me a best neighbor too. And I'll tell you what's going on. They're a young couple, so nice. They eat organic. You know, I love them already. They're a young couple, and they both work. She's an arborist for the local electrical company. You know, she's one of those ladies that goes and drives around and makes sure the trees are not interfering with the power lines and that sort of thing. But she's a certified arborist, which is why she has that job, because she can really tell what's going to be going on with the growth of the trees and so forth. And the husband is with this really nice shoe company. It's called Atrix. And he's like a traveling, representative for them. So he's always traveling and this and that. And he had said to me, we've developed a nice friendship, and they have these 2 daughters, and I've been kind of helping out with the daughters. Like I walk them to summer camp at the YMCA, or I'll keep an eye on them when somebody has to run to the store, or I'll take care of their dogs, let their dogs out during the day. It's just been really nice. And, I put this vegetable garden in, and we share the vegetables, and it's been lovely. And the little girls, they come down to my house all the time. They'll just stroke on in because my door's always open. I've got a screen there, so my door's open. So they'll just stroke on in and grab a crochet needle and a ball of yarn to sit down and crochet a little bit. And then they stand up and go, "We're leaving. Goodbye." It's really fun. Anywho, let me get to the story. Matt, who's the husband, works for this shoe company. Well, one day I was talking to him. I said, "Tell me again the name of your shoe company." And he did. It's called Atrix. And I went in and I got on the website of Atrix, and I realized that I had purchased a pair of their sandals when I lived in Florida. It was at one of those little, kind of boutique shoe stores, and they're nice shoes. Like, they were not inexpensive sandals. They were kind of a little investment piece. I love them. They're the kind of shoes that have really good soles. They're kind of orthotics, and they're so comfortable, and they're beautifully made, and they're real leather and the whole thing. And what Matt had said to me a number of times was, "If there's any shoes you want, let me know and I'll order them for you, because I get to gift shoes all the time." And I said, "Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. Appreciate that." Well, when I was on the website looking at the sandals, and they have other shoes as well, but anyway, I was looking at the sandals, and I found this pair of sandals that I really liked. I really did. And they had the color I wanted, and they had the really nice soles that I really liked. And I thought, ooh, I'd love to ask Matt if he could get me a pair of those sandals. But I didn't. I didn't ask because I just kind of felt, I don't know, uncomfortable doing it, or I thought I was so busy, and I don't know, I'm sure you can understand. I would just, even though the invitation was there, I just kind of felt, I don't know, weird saying, "Can you get me these sandals?" Anyway, so I just let it go. I just put it out of my mind and got on with my life. Love the sandals, not getting them, not feeling comfortable asking for them. So the family came down a couple of days ago, and Matt was back in town, and they came down and they brought me a couple of gifts. And they were thank you gifts because I had walked the girls a couple of weeks to summer camp in the morning. Love doing it. It's totally fun. It's not an inconvenience at all. But they brought me a couple of gifts. One was a yarn holder, so you can put your yarn on it and it spins around and feed your yarn really easy. And the other was, guess what? You got it. Those sandals that I wanted. Not only was it exactly those sandals, I'm getting goosebumps. It was exactly the color I wanted. And I'm telling you what, it kind of freaked me out in a really good way, because I thought, oh my gosh, if we don't think the universe is listening, we are dead wrong. The universe is so listening. What are the odds that with all the shoes that he had on the site that he could have picked out for me, that he would pick out the sandals that I wanted in the color I wanted? And the sandals come in like 12 or 15 colors. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys because the universe is listening. I just will let you know the universe is listening. Okay, so those are my 2 stories about the Hug Club. You can still join the Hug Club. It's so fun. It really is so fun. And I did a video on it. I'll put the little thumbnail up here, and the link will be in the description box down below. Check it out. It's really a cool thing, and women are so excited about it, and we're going to have connections all around this planet, which I love. So right now we are off to the grocery store. I'll meet you there. This is my favorite grocery store. It's local. It's not a chain, and pretty much everything in here is organic. And one thing I want to show you guys before I go in, they have these little specials that they put out in front of the store. This brand of chips, if you're a chip eater, I'm not a big chip eater, but some people are. This is the only brand I've found that is not only made with organic either potatoes or corn, but they're also cooked in avocado oil, not seed oil. I've always been able to find one or the other, but never both. This is the first I found that is both. So little heads up there. Oh, and the brand, I forgot to say, is Late July. And they have lots of different flavors. There's one that's a churro flavor that is cinnamon and sugar, which is not the best, but oh my gosh, they're so stinking good. If you have a chance to try one, they're pretty good. Their produce department is awesome because all the produce is organic. So I don't have to hunt and peck to try to find the organic items. Everything's organic, which I find so very handy. So the base of the soup is cucumbers, and I'm going to get 6 or 7 cucumbers today. I don't get the English cucumbers, I get the standard cucumbers. And the number generally depends on the size of the cucumber. I'm also going to get some green onions, a yellow pepper, and then I'm going to come over here and get a jalapeno pepper. Those look like, it should be around here somewhere. And then we're going to get a bunch. And when I say a bunch, I mean a whole bunch of dill. And then we're going to get cilantro and also mint. And I'm not seeing mint here, but that's okay because I've got some mint at home. Maybe we'll just use the mint at home. So I'm going to go ahead and start packaging all this stuff up. And then I'm going to get a tub of yogurt, and you can use any kind of plain unsweetened yogurt you like. I am using the goat yogurt. I'm just trying to really, keep the dairy, the cow dairy out, low in my diet. I just find that it seems to work better for me. So I'm going to go ahead and get this plain goat yogurt right here. It's the next day. I got home from the grocery store yesterday, and the girls next door came over, and we colored and we crocheted and we read our book, and it was a whole thing. The last thing we did was make soup. So hang on a minute, I want to show you something. So this is the book I got to read to the girls who live next door, who hang out here from time to time, several times a week. One of them, they're both girls. One of them is 10, one is 7. And I got the book Island of the Blue Dolphins to read to them this summer. Did you read this when you were younger? I did. And I read it to my daughters as well. It's so good. It is so good. It's emotional, but it's so good. The story is about a young girl who overcomes all these challenges, and you watch her learn all these skills and develop as a human. I mean, it's so very good. And here's the funny thing is I texted my daughter and I said, I got Island of the Blue Dolphins to read to the girls next door. And she's sent me this whole bunch of crying emojis. It still hurts her heart. It hits her heart hard. It's emotional. It's not sad. It's emotional, really, in a good way. If you haven't read it, do yourself a favor and either download it on Audible or get the book on Amazon or whatever. It's really, really good. So we're reading this. So we didn't make soup yesterday. And I've got you in my kitchen. And if you know where I'm living right now or have seen my tiny house videos, you know my kitchen's the size of a postage stamp. So the lighting's weird. It's scary weird. But I want to kind of walk through the soup and what I'm making on the soup. Let me tell you the details about this. This is a recipe from Emerald Lagasse that I found, gosh, how long has it been, Heather? Heather, my daughter, is editing this video. Maybe 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 years. I don't even remember. I found it when Heather and I were living together up in the Portland area in a little town called Lake Oswego. and we lived together for a year, and I found this recipe during the summer, and I made it, and it was so good. You guys, it is so good. We ate it almost every day. I just kept making batch after batch after batch. It is so refreshing and so flavorful and so unique. And it's perfect for summer because it's all filled with vegetables and fresh herbs. And so satisfying. I would have a cup of it every day. It's really good. What has happened over the years is that I don't even use the recipe anymore. I pretty much have just figured out how I want to gather it together, and I have made some changes, and I will kind of point those out as I show you the ingredients. What I would recommend if you're interested in making this is go ahead and do Emerald's recipe like it is, and I'll have it listed in the description box down below. Make that first. And then if you decide you want to change it up or take some of the changes I've made, you could add on to that. But if you end up liking it, you're going to find that you can put it together the way you want. Super, super easy. So let's go ahead and talk about, I'll try to tilt you guys down here so you can see. The lighting's going to be weird, but that just is what it is. The basis of the soup is cucumbers. So I always buy, hello, kind of, if the cucumbers are big or small, it makes a difference on how many cucumbers I use. I ended up getting 6 cucumbers because they're just sort of medium small. So 6 cucumbers, a jalapeno pepper, a yellow bell pepper, a bunch of cilantro, and a whole bunch of mint. I didn't find mint at the store, so I just went ahead and used the mint in my garden. 3 green onions. Where is my garlic? Hang on, I gotta find my garlic. I'm gonna use probably 4 cloves of garlic because I like garlic a whole lot. And then a couple of cucumbers. And then at the end, I'm gonna add the seasonings. These are not cucumbers, these are avocados. Good grief, a couple of avocados. Let me tell you the difference of today. I bought a bunch of dill at the grocery store. I don't think it made it home with me. I can't find it anywhere. I like fresh dill, but I don't have it because I can't find the darn dill I bought. So I have some dried dill, and I'm going to use that this time. It's not going to taste as good. It's the fresh herbs in this that really give it a punch. Let me tell you some of the mix-ups or change-ups I've made in this recipe, just for you to think about if you decide you want to make it. First of all, it calls for, what is this? This is 32 ounces of plain unsweetened yogurt. It calls for an equal amount in sour cream. I used to make it that way, so I'd have the yogurt and the sour cream. I'm just trying to minimize my cow dairy right now. So what I have done is I'm going to go ahead and use goat milk yogurt, plain unsweetened. And then to add richness that the sour cream adds, I used a couple of avocados. And then I just add a little bit more vinegar at the end. Vinegar is one of the spices or seasonings that go in at the end. So that's one change I've made. Also, the recipe calls for something like, I think, 2 tablespoons of cilantro. I'm gonna throw this whole bunch in there. And if I had the dill that I bought, I would throw the whole bunch of dill in there as well, because it's the flavorings from the herbs that is just so very good. So good for you, the cilantro and the dill and the garlic and all this fresh stuff. It tastes delicious and is so good for you. So the way that I do it is I'm going to chop up all the vegetables. Of course, I'm going to peel and seed the cucumbers. And I do now a really rough chop because I finally broke down a couple of years ago and bought a good blender. You know, I've got that Jack Benny streak. You know, my grandmother lived through the Depression. She spent a lot of time raising me. Honestly, it took me a long time to stop saving the little twist ties off the bread. But I don't buy that kind of bread anymore, so it's not a problem. I finally bought a good blender, is the bottom line. I think it's a Blend Tech. I'll list it down below. It makes this so easy. So I'm gonna just really rough chop everything because that blender is so stinking good at what it does. It just smooths the soup out really, really easy. So that's what I'm gonna do. And how I put it all together is I blend up all the ingredients and then I put it in a big bowl once it's blended, and then I add all the seasonings so I can test it and taste it and adjust before I put it in the refrigerator. And one thing I found about this recipe is if it sits overnight, in other words, I'm going to make it, it's late in the afternoon, and I'm not going to have any until tomorrow afternoon. There is magic that happens with this recipe in particular when you let all the flavors blend together. So I'm going to get started chopping now, and I will catch up with you when I'm throwing things in the blender. Oh, and I just want to mention, my kitchen's so small, I've got you sitting on the stove. So if your butt starts getting warm, that's why. So here's all the vegetables all chopped up. If you have a good blender, you can just do a really rough chop. If you have one of those blenders that starts smoking when it struggles, you might want to chop things up a little bit more. I'm going to start adding the seasonings now, and this is where it gets just a little dicey because I don't measure anything, hardly ever. And I have just kind of winged it with the seasonings. In Emerald's recipe, it calls for like Emerald's Cajun blend or Emerald's mix or something. I don't even know if that's made anymore. So I put in a combination of olive oil, and you can just watch how much I drizzle, and then I use organic apple cider vinegar, and I'm running a little low, so I'm going to top it off with some red wine vinegar. The vinegar really gives it that kind of, it kind of gives it a little tang at the end. It's so very delicious. And then I'm going to throw in some chili powder, some smoked paprika, cumin, and then onion powder and garlic powder, and then I'm going to salt and pepper it as well. The reason you might want to do Emerald's recipe first is so you can see the measurings on the seasoning. If you feel comfortable just throwing what you like and seasoning, together, go for it. I just have kind of found what works, and it always just turns out really well. And then I'm going to salt and pepper this, and then I start blending it in batches. And what I do is I get it all blended up so that I have a big bowl of it, and I stir it really well before I put it in my containers to cool it overnight. And then of course the last thing I'm going to put in is the yogurt. So I'm going to put all the seasonings in the yogurt, and then I'm going to stir it up and start blending it in batches. So I have some rock sea salt here. I'm just going to throw some of that in. So here's how it looks before I start putting it in the blender. It's all choppy and smells delicious. So here's my bowl of soup. This stuff is so good. It smells so good. And I'll just kind of taste it. It is so good. It is so good. I can tell a little bit of difference in the flavor without the fresh dill, but it's not as big as I thought it would be. It's really not. So I'm going to add a little bit more salt, and then I'm going to store it in some glass jars and put it in the refrigerator overnight. So it made almost 3 quarts. These are quart jars, right? I can never remember that. Almost. This one's just a little bit shy. One thing I've noticed since I've started using avocado instead of sour cream, it can be a little bit thicker. So you might want to add a little bit of water if that's the issue. Sometimes I do that. So can't wait for tomorrow this time because I get to have a cup of this delicious soup. Well, that's what I have for you today. I hope you give this soup a try. If you do, make sure that you put it down in the comment section down below and tell me how you liked it. And if you made any modifications, that we'd love to hear about it. I certainly would. It really is delicious. It's so healthy. All those fresh vegetables and those herbs, really, really good for you. If you haven't checked out the Hug Club video, I'll have that listed in the description box down below. Really take a look. It is turning into such a fun thing. And we've got women that are going to be flying letters around the world. And if it sounds fun to you, we would love to have you join us. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. You guys know it just makes my day when you take a few minutes out of your day to spend it with me. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. I'm Kimberly. This is Pretty Over 50, where we talk everything beauty, fitness, and lifestyle for the over 50 and over 60, almost 70-year-old woman. Make it a great week, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye now.